and hola! Welcome to Yoga with Criss. In this video, we're checking out the modifications of the 90-90 movement for those who feel that it's too much and the progressions for those who feel that they need a little more. What do we need? We need a yoga mat or a towel or a fitness mat or any kind of mat or any surface that is soft enough for our knees. You see that handsome dog? His name is Dempsey. Hi! We can do this exercise with or without shoes, is our preference. I'm setting mine aside. And we're starting with what we call seated windshield wipers, but it's the base movement of the 90-90. Why is called 90-90? Because we try to get 90 degrees in our knees and 90 degrees in our hips. And again, basic alignment. We get our heels wider than our hips and our knees as wide as our heels. We try not to get our knees to the center. We try to keep them as wide as our heels, and we can use our hands behind our back to help us keeping our back straight. Good. And then we start doing, this is a modification. We're doing our side to side seated windshield wipers, the basic 90-90. So we do side to side. We don't have to get all the way down to the floor with our knees, but we try keeping both seat bones on the mat or on the floor at all times. So as far as we can get without forcing the movement and without lifting one of our seat bones, okay? And it's perfectly fine if we don't get all the way down to the mat, because doing this every other day, eventually we're gonna improve our range of motion. This is the basic. Great. Next, we're going for the reach out front. So in this movement, we're gonna allow one of our seat bones to get up off the floor so we can get both knees to the floor or the mat. And one of our hands, in this case, it's my right hand, it's staying behind, so I can keep pushing the floor away, keeping that straight back. And then we can go reach forward as far as we can without feeling any pain, any discomfort. We may feel some stretch. We may feel this a little bit challenging, and it's perfectly fine. We like the challenge, we don't like the pain. Reaching forward and coming back. At first, we can start by very gently, very little. We don't go too far. And then gradually, we can start trying to get a little further. Modification we can do, it's if having a 90-degree angle in our legs, it's too tough on us, we can try closing the angle a little. That may make it easy for us. And then trying reaching forward. If we start syncing the movement with our breath, what we can do is inhale as we are straight and exhaling as we reach forward. And as we exhale, we empty our rib cage and our belly of all the air we inhaled before. So as we exhale, we contract all these muscles here, and we may be able to find more room to go a little further. And then inhaling and exhaling, contracting everything, finding more room to go further. And inhaling, exhaling. Let's try the other side. And again, we can try keeping the 90 degree in our legs and our knees, or maybe closing the angle if that makes it easier for us to keep doing the movement. Reaching forward, gently first, little by little at first. And again, if this is still too tough, we can always close that angle. We're not 90-90 now, but it's perfectly fine. Eventually we can get there. We can also sync the movement with our breath. So as we inhale, we straight up, expanding our belly and our ribs. And as we exhale, we reach forward. And then inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, expanding our belly and our ribs. Exhaling, contracting our belly, our ribs, and we may be able to find more room to reach a little further. Inhaling, and then switching to that side also. The next modification is for that lifting. Some of us can't reach the heel, so we may reach by, the calf, or maybe just using our pants to help us. What are we doing here? Again, we can adjust our angle to the best way, reaching our ankle or our heel or the calf, the way we can keep that hand behind our back, and the same of our rear legs and behind of our rear leg. We're gonna start little by little, lifting, very gentle at first. Gradually, we keep breathing deep and slow. Some of us may be able to actually have the 90 degrees in our setting, so we can do it like this. And gradually, we're gonna start lifting a little higher. What happens here? We're telling our body what we're gonna do later. So that's why we're trying to get that inner rotation of our hips. And as we progress in this, we start lifting a little higher, maybe. Again, the idea is feeling the challenge, but not feeling any pain. Now that we told our body what we're doing next, we're gonna start our little progression. This is still a modification, but it's part of the whole flow. So let's see if it's part of our practice that we can start lifting that foot off the mat. Even if it's just a little. Lift. If we take it off the floor, 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters, whatever we can get it off the floor, off the mat, it's perfectly fine. We are not competing. This is one of the most important parts of yoga. It's not a competition. It's our own practice. So if we get barely there, it's okay. If we get higher, it's okay. As we do this, we start feeling the work in this muscle here. Yeah, focusing on that muscle. We can do 10, 12, 15 repetitions. It's up to us, but it's always important to do this every other day so we can keep our mobility, especially if we like running or cycling or hiking a lot, or if we do triathlons. It's very important because we keep the mobility in our hips, and we're at the same time we're strengthening this little muscle here, the gluteus medius, which is super tough to engage. Let's go for the other side. The same way we did, we're gonna start first by grabbing our ankle or our heel or our calf, or even from the pants. The idea is to little by little start telling our hips that we want that inner rotation. And little by little, we can start lifting a little higher, checking how far is our range of motion. We were warming up first. And after about a minute doing this, now we'll go for that strengthening part. Now we're gonna try lifting the foot and down. Lifting and down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Good. We'll do this also for about a minute, and then we'll switch to the next movement. For people who need modification for this movement, the next part may be too tough. So it's not necessary that we do this, but we try. And if when we try, it feels too tough, something hurts, something doesn't feel good, we just skip it and keep doing the other part of the exercises. Like I mentioned, every other day is the perfect scheduling for this exercise. This is for mobility, and mobility not only gives us flexibility, but also gives us strength, keeps the strength in our joints. So we can get our hands in front of us, leaning forward so we can shift our weight. And little trick, if we haven't been able to do this 90-90 get-ups, we can close the angle a little, but the idea is to keep this foot out of the way of our knee. So we get our hands reaching forward and leaning our torso forward, and then getting up. And then slowly coming down. I know sometimes it's very tough to come down slowly. That's why we lean forward, so we keep a little bit of our weight ahead of us and we don't just collapse on our seat bones. And my preference is to keep both knees on the mat, but some people just don't need the same. It's our own choice. So, and leaning forward, reaching far, and then getting up. Up and gently going down. Up and going down. Good. We'll do this again. It could be a minute. We can do 10 reps or 12 reps. We can go adequating that according on how we're doing. If we're not able to get up at all, we just keep the attempt, okay? We lean forward, we get there, and even just doing this, just the gesture of we're going to, it helps us at progressing that eventually. Keep doing this for about a minute. When we do this exercise every other day, will give us the strength to eventually getting up. Let's go for the other side. If you feel like you're learning something about your body, please give me a like and share this video with your family and friends. if this is gonna be too tough on us, we can always close the ankle a little. Hands in front of us, leaning our torso forward and reaching far with our hands, and then start getting up. And slowly coming back down. And again, as we saw on the other side, if it's not possible to completely get up, we just do the gesture, like trying and then coming back. Trying and then coming back. Trying and coming back. That's enough exercise to get our body to be adapted to this movement. But don't go anywhere because we're gonna see the progressions right away. If you're not subscribed to my channel yet, this is a perfect moment to do so. Below there's a subscribe button, please touch it, and also the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. For the progressions, if we're tougher or if our fitness level asks us for something else, but we still want to get these mobility exercises, we can always use weighted gloves or ankle weights that we can be switching from our wrists to our ankles. For practical purposes in this video, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put ankle weights on my ankles and weighted gloves on my hands, so I don't have to be, switching. Well, we have now the weights in our wrists and the ankles. We start the same way, so pushing the mat away with our hands to keep our back straight, heels and knees wider than our hips, and we start with the seated windshield wipers, and we try not to get any of our seat bones off the floor. We're gonna feel most likely that we're sliding forward with every time we do the movement, so we just push ourselves back. And then just little by little, we're gonna allow ourselves to lift one of the seat bones at a time in order to get our legs all the way down to the floor. Then the other side, the rear one is the one that gets off the mat. Good. And then we're going for the reaching forward part. So we have this weight here. We go further, as far as we can. Inhaling, expanding our belly and our ribs. Exhaling, contracting our belly and our ribs, making some room to go a little further. And then inhaling, exhaling. And as with the modification or the basic, we just keep doing this for about a minute and then we switch sides. Now that we're facing the other side, we do the same, pushing the mat away with that hand, and then the opposite of our front leg is gonna go further front, reaching forward, inhaling as we come back, exhaling, inhaling, expanding our belly and our ribs, exhaling, and emptying our belly and our ribs to find more room going forward, inhaling, exhaling, and again we keep doing this for about a minute. We can reach our ankle, the calf, and again if we really cannot reach any part of our lower leg, we just close that angle, then hold it there, and little by little we start lifting lifting. At first it's very gently because we are warming up. We're telling our hip what we want to do. And after a minute doing this, we start lifting our foot just with the strength on this muscle in our hip. Lifting, lifting, and down, up, down. We're gonna do this also for a minute, but the last 10 seconds, we're gonna hold it there for those last 10 seconds of the minute we're doing it. Once we're done, we just get down and switching sides. Doing the same with this side, reaching our ankle, our mid-leg, our heel, whatever we can reach, or maybe just closing the angle so we can actually reach completely that heel. It's okay, it's our own choice, and we have different body proportions, so it's completely understandable that some people can reach perfectly fine, whatever we can do. And then lifting gently, little by little. Again for a minute. And as we go progressing on time, we go higher, again without feeling any pain. Higher, higher, good. After a minute, we switch to the strengthening part. So let's start just lifting that foot, lifting, lifting. Also, we do it for a minute, but on the last 10 seconds, we hold the foot up, and we keep breathing deep and slow. And after those 10 seconds, we go down and switching sides. We're going now for the get up part, and the progression comes with this weight, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a help because having that weight in front of us as we lean forward keep us more engaged to do the movement of getting up. And gently we go down with this weight. It's gonna be easier to come down slowly because that weight keeps us a little bit forward, right? And then we go up and down. Up, down. We do this for a minute. It can be equal to probably 12 reps, depending on how fast we do it. We try to do it slow so we engage better those muscles, especially the hip muscles. And then we switch to the other side. Same way, trying to keep those 90-90 or maybe closing the angle if it's difficult for us. Whatever it works for us, and then getting our arms in front of us, leaning forward, getting those arms away from us, taking advantage of that weight in our hands, and then getting up. And slowly coming down. Good. Getting up. And coming down. Coming up and down, and doing the same for about a minute. Remember, I have videos in English and Spanish if you're bilingual. If not, I have several videos in English, and I will leave you some of them up here in this corner in the description down there, and please leave a comment. Thank you for watching this video to the end.